We move on to our next session, which is the venture capitalist point of view. Requesting our previous panel members to kindly join us on stage again. And Ms. Vanita, if you could join us back to kindly do the honors. Well, these are some lovely candid photographs. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you. As I mentioned, our next session is the venture capitalist point of view. A former broadcaster turned VC looks at TV versus online video and discusses how he is betting on the future. For which I would like to invite on stage Mr. Rajesh Kamath, MD of Emerald Media, and Ms. Vanita could join us on stage again. Thank you.
Which also he commissioned. I'm sorry, but Rajesh, that's the biggest memory.
It's to do with my age, or?
No. It's not. Okay. Rajesh, if you could quickly, and this is one of the reasons we wanted Rajesh for this particular session is, he has been a former broadcaster with operational experience who's gone on to the investor side. Rajesh, could you come quickly and tell us what Emerald Media is all about and what have you?
We are the media platform for KKR, which is a private equity fund. We are a 300 million fund, which media platform focused only on media entertainment assets. We invest into, again, any form of media, new media, traditional media, digital, any of these. Our typical sweet spot would be about 30 to 50 million per asset. And yeah, I think that's in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. And what are the media investments you've made?
Yeah. So we currently have about 6 India-focused assets, and we have 1 in Indonesia. In the content IP-focused play, we have Endemol. We own 49% of Endemol in India,
okay.
which is IP focused on television. You can pretty much say all screens for that matter. Our second investment is, you had Ajay on a panel before this, which is Only Much Louder, which is live events IP. And it's also a ticketing platform called Insider. We have a graphic animation play called Graphic India, which we own a third of. And there is a celebrity digital play where pretty much the top 40 celebrities from any, be it Bollywood, be it cricket, all of the digital rights are with this company. We own 100% of that company called Fluence. We've just done 2 investments. We've done 50 million investment in Yup TV, which is a diaspora-focused OTT play. And we've just done an investment in a geo-targeting and cloud porting ad tech services company called Amagi. So I think that's our India-focused play. We own a third of a broadcast station in Indonesia. So when the world is talking about only digital and way forward, yes, the traditional media businesses are also there to stay. They're not running down straight to the ground.
Thank the Lord. My job is safe. No, but seriously, if I was to ask, what's your investment philosophy? What would you say?
See, 2 or 3 things. One, for us, I must admit, when you ask me, you make the investor side seem very lucrative. That's exactly what I thought as well before I really moved on to the other side. I thought I would sit on the board of companies, question promoters and get answers very easily, and life would be good. Doesn't seem to be.
We can invite pitches. Are there any digital video apps here looking for investment? We can make a live pitch. Oh, there's a raised hand there. Catch him outside. Yeah.
So life doesn't seem to be that easy. No, I think for us, and before I cut to specifics on which sectors we look at, I'll tell you the way we look at life. For having done 7 investments, we've evaluated about 700 plus assets. And for us, we realized that a strong promoter, a great fundamentally solid model, a tech platform or a scalable business driven by technology preferably, not necessarily only technology, and a good market which is, friendly on regulation, which facilitate exit. This is from a sector, a holistic view on the sector. Specific to sub-sectors, we have, as I said, content. Needless to say, content is going to control any screen that you talk about. So if you're a content owner owning IP, like an Endemol or any of our content play, that's a business that definitely attracts us across markets, across Asia. Emerald focuses across Asia. So apart from India, Indonesia is a big market for us. Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia are a few of the others. Today what's happened is what used to be a content creator, a broadcaster and then a distribution play has all in the digital domain come together where the lines are blurring. The OTT platforms that are set in are content creators as well. They are their own distributors. And that's what we've looked at in an asset like Yup, which is a platform play which also aggregates and creates content. So that's an area of interest. We see consolidation in the traditional media as a good pocket to be in. We've missed the bus on, I would say, multiplex consolidation in India. But there are a few markets where we believe that play still exists in traditional pockets of media. So that's something of interest to us.
So strategic comes in and
yes,
and therefore you get an exit.
Yeah. As a financial, I'll touch upon that point because between a strategic and a financial, the outlook is going to be slightly different. And we look at a business model far more, rigorously than probably what a strategic who can take a long-term bet looks at. Going back, on the buckets, I think our services, the next one we look at is probably services. And when I say services, these could be ad tech services, it could be agency services. That's a good interesting play. We believe there's a good pocket there across markets. And then transactions. And transactions could be ticketing, it could be kids entertainment zone, it could be any of those which are transaction services. For us, this is broadly the cluster that or pockets that we look at in terms of areas of interest.
Okay. Is that 7 of 700, is that a sort of proportion thing you're telling me, or you really looked at 700?
It's 700 across all the markets.
Across all the markets.
See, what happens is every proposal that comes in...
it's like a film company or a music company. You have to run through
tons
of raw material before you...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Of the 700, there would be about 100 which would really be evaluated. There would be 50 or 40 odd which would go to the term sheet, get to diligence, and then you zero it down to a... There's no science to your ratio, but that's how life is panned out for us.
Why Yup TV?
Okay, so I'll touch upon the point where we look at life slightly differently from what a strategic who
There's so many OTTs.
Yeah. So who could take a 10-year, 12-year bet, and we believe that a sound business model, which clearly, in case of Yup, what we've seen is it's focused on the diaspora, which is a paying audience. It's a subscription-driven model. There are 100,000 plus audience who are paying for the services today. They are paying $18 to $20 blended ARPU per month, and that's a service that we would love to back because we believe that in the 13 to 14 million diaspora audiences, there is enough growth left. There is enough subscription potential that is left.
Investors dream to have a ARPU business in online. I mean, I can't think of a single speaker who said that yesterday we had a pay versus whatever, and I think most people said they won't pay.
Yeah, it was dangerous to say it, when the other panelists were around. But see, a strategic outlook to life is slightly different, as I said. They can bet on long-term value of a customer. We do bet on that, but we would prefer to see some cash as well.
But if I was to ask you, how do you look at see the OTT space in India? And have you recently, I'm sure you get inundated with proposals. How do you see the space in India and how it is developing versus the other markets? And which are the markets you see potential and why?
See, let me for us, when we see all the proposals, 700 that I spoke about, each one of them is backed by a passionate promoter. It's everything that comes to us is glittering. We've come to terms that not all of it is gold. Every person who gets into e-commerce talks about being the next Amazon or Amazon wanting to buy him out. Every person who gets into OTT wants to be the next Netflix. What people tend to forget is 2008 when Netflix was actually not an OTT player. They were a $3 billion market cap company. they had $1 billion revenue and 200 to 250 of EBITDA on traditional business, right? And that triggered them getting, and they had a database which could actually be used for analytics to cater to these audiences, the loyal audiences, and build an OTT platform on the back of that. What we tend to see in most cases is in our understanding, OTT play has to have 3 different pockets or verticals. Content, which could be your own content, aggregated content, that's a debate in itself. The second part is technology, which quite often is, underplayed. I have content, I'm starting my own play, I just have to develop an app and people will come and see it. So from a technology, how smooth is your technology? How can you really, the experience makes all the difference. And third, what is undermined is the distribution. We feel
technology, interface, and
the content, technology, interface, and analytics, I would say. But from a when I'm saying distribution, how well integrated are you? If you take a Netflix, and one of the reasons for us, Yup was interesting. Yup is integrated into 27 devices. You can access a Yup TV through a smart TV. You can get in through an Xbox, you can get in through a Roku, you can have it across 27 devices. That integration and easy distribution, which we used to value in traditional media and FMCG businesses, seems to be, not having its due weightage. So for us, those 3 are really critical points which are important for the success of OTT. In India, I'll come back to your point on India versus... I'll come to that.
I thought, are you making a sort of subtle remark which says that the UI is not very good? Or
No, I think, see, the interface, user interface, people experiment, they get to it, which is fine. That's not a problem.
Yesterday we had this big debate between Sameer and Vishal Maheshwari of View. And Vishal was a tech guy. We are a tech company, and Sameer, we are a content company. And
See, I'm neutral. I would love to have a company which has both. So, Yup is a promoter who's a technocrat. So we believe in technology, and it's an aggregator. So when you come to the point, I'll come to this point on aggregation as well. On India specific thing, there is a big difference how OTT plays out in rest of world versus India. It's important to understand, and when I say the diaspora audience, let me take diaspora as an example. When a person in the US or let's say Singapore where I live is connected to a StarHub, my monthly bill is roughly about $120. Right? For multiple television, boxes, content sharing, base pack, then layering South Asian. If I were to switch to an OTT play, the bill comes down to $20 to $25. That's a meaningful cut, right? So it clearly is a good financial or economically viable proposition. But when it comes to India, when in $4 or $5, I can get 300, 500 channels at my disposal, why would I pay?
The price arbitrage.
Exactly. So what that means is you're banking on an AVOD market, which is okay. I think advertising is big. You're talking about a 1.2 billion digital advertising today, which is search driven, but still there is enough potential there. It is growing at 30% plus, so that potential exists. But that's a model which is going to take a fair bit of time. We were talking with Ajit, where a lot of these are strategics who've taken calls who have to last this whole battle. The way we see it, a lot of the players will run out of powder. And I'm not talking about the global strategics who come in, but a lot of the widely abused term OTT players.
Standalone
exactly.
guys, not the guys who are
not an easy bet. Not an easy bet.
But is exit an issue in India?
No, it's not specific to OTT, but yes, overall yes. Exit is an issue in any market. Exit is an issue as a concept.
Tell us more.
No, it's not easy. So what does happen is...
is it tougher in media than in tech?
Not really. It's pretty much the same across. When you meet a promoter who's come to you to seek funds, you're placed one level above God. When you actually invest, you come at par with God. The next round happens, you do the next round, I would say you're God, you continue to that status. If not, if you don't do the follow-up round, then you become a human. And the day you utter the word exit is when you're the one hurting the business. So I think it's a cycle. So jokes apart, I think one is backing a promoter to the core. Second, more importantly, the regulatory piece. And I think India is far better off from a regulation standpoint. There are quite a few markets where there are great promoters, great media business, But the regulatory piece, China for example, is something where we've clearly realized there is no point getting in the market.
Most investors have given up. I mean,
Yeah,
it is an internal
absolutely.
market which is driven by...
Absolutely. So exit for us, and these days when we start evaluating any proposal, we work backwards from regulatory, exit, potential, space, promoter.
How does India look when you look at the other markets? So, you were talking about Vietnam and Philippines being more interesting. So if I was to look at the OTT space in India versus some of these other markets, I mean, what are the 2-3 things which pop up in your mind when you look at specific players in these markets?
Yeah. A lot of the Southeast Asian markets are free-to-air markets, right? Are free-to-air, FTA,
Okay,
FTA markets. Yeah. India is a pay TV market, right? So, but there are pay TV. The high quality content in Southeast Asia was always delivered through pay television.
You're not a pay TV market, if you know what I mean.
No,
we
you're
pay
at
for
least,
cable, and
yeah.
that is TV for us.
No, that's exactly. Yeah. You're a pay TV market for at least a cable operator.
Yep.
Not for a broadcaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, having said that, what's happened is the propensity to pay exists in Southeast Asian markets, and people are willing to pay that. So I think broadband penetration is good. So when you look at OTT, one of the points is when we talk about US and mirroring the US, what we forget is 70% penetration of broadband versus a 7% today in India. Right? We can definitely, we are believers, I think you were talking about this earlier on, where we are believers in TV everywhere. We believe that eventually, while today the consumption is happening on mobile phones in India, in China, given the opportunity, given the infrastructure, people would prefer to watch it on TV. So devices really play an important role. Smart TVs play an important role.
Okay.
Access to this is going to be critical.
So the general infrastructure of
yes,
this.
Yes.
What would your advice be to players within the digital video space who come or go to investors? What would if you had to, of all the learnings that you had to share with them?
Frankly, for me, it's too early to advise anybody because I'm yet experiencing, as I said, the exit cycle of life. So once I go through one full cycle of entry and exit is when I should be far
but
better
from a
equipped.
pitch perspective.
See,
I'm not saying
great.
Returns. Returns I'm not even discussing with you because returns is a tricky question.
The first point I would say is have a business model. So 700 becomes your 300 because 400 of them have passion, have hope, but no business model.
Okay.
So, and that a passionate promoter with no business model in a great space does not make the cut.
Okay. And last question on creation versus aggregation. When you look at models, I mean, do you find guys with their own content?
Both coexist. In fact, what we've seen in the US is single app or your broadcasters have their own apps as well as there are aggregators. And we believe there is enough scope for both players to coexist. As a consumer, what does happen is consumer would prefer not to download multiple apps. If I can have one service or one box or one app which can provide me all, life is good. But will they coexist? In the US they have, internationally they have. So I suppose aggregators as well as individual broadcasters would coexist.
Okay. Okay, I have one more question. Are there returns to be made in a standalone OTT app, or does it have to be part of a larger portfolio?
No, I don't think it needs to be part of a larger portfolio.
So TV, for example, unless it's an SVOD kind of...
See, you go back to the point on what is called lifetime value of a customer, right? Most businesses, the joke in the investor circle is that the cost of discovering a customer, acquiring a customer, is where maximum venture capital money goes. You acquire the customer, but you don't make any money off him, right? The lifetime value of a customer is something that we do consider, but if the customer is at some stage in life willing to pay,
then what do you do?
If there are models, I'm not shooting down AVOD as a model. I genuinely believe that AVOD is a model. It's a strong enough model, but is it going to be good enough to survive, or can a OTT model survive on AVOD? Not really. It could
destroy the SVOD model. That's the one thing it could do.
It can. See, if sports goes free,
same space,
if sports is free in a country, then in OTT, then I don't think anyone else can go pay. Correct. Because if
you put your best primetime shows online for free,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. My yes/no question to everybody. I forgot to put it the last time. Have you got your cards? Everybody? Okay. You're going to hate this question, Rajesh, okay? Do media investors understand the OTT space? Yes or no? Media investors understand the OTT space? Yes or no? Do media investors? We spoke to one. Okay, Rajesh, you passed.
Did I? Okay, but I'm interested in the guys who are saying no.
There's some reds also.
Yeah,
But
though if you can just take quick 5 seconds to understand why they're saying no. No, because this is an interesting point you're making, because actually the way private equity world is moving, and not specific to media, but a lot of verticals, they're getting functional experts, and that's the reason where I transitioned across from ops to investor role, is where you have sector-specific guys who've been there and hopefully understand media, who start evaluating business models. KKR, again, we are a media platform for KKR. They have a similar platform in oil and gas. We believe functional experts, if they start evaluating models, the sanctity to that is slightly different.
Mihir, your job to explain to Rajesh why you held up that red card, okay?
Yeah, I saw him. I take it personally, nahi. But no, interesting. Why would you take that?
Just before lunch, I can break the rules once.
It's just so dynamic that generally people are not. I mean, you just see the transition happening right now, and working and experimenting with different business models. Investors, when you are busy with evaluating 700 different companies, you will know exactly what's happening on the ground within the industry. So operationally, the media industry is changing every day, while you guys as an investor are also busy evaluating 700 companies at a business model level, not yet at an operational level. I think that level of understanding is required. You are there, you would
see that would be true for pretty much every investor across all sectors, unless you have a sector focus.
Exactly. So I'm not saying specific to you, but
no, fair. Understand where you're coming from.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rajesh. Thank you, audience.
Thank you so much, sir. Hope you cherish that. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you, ma'am.